Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm IATF qualified auditor doing audit for the automotive sector for the last 18 years. I'm again back with a very interesting topic, and that is related to PESTLE analysis. Well, these days we are hearing a lot about the war between Russia and Ukraine. So globally, everyone is wondering that what will be its impact now and in coming years. Something similar is happening with the help related to COVID fourth wave. We all know what has happened in the first, second, and third wave. Like what is going to have its impact maybe in India, Europe, America, or maybe in some other countries, wherein at the moment we are seeing some hints in China, Korea, and Japan. Something similar is in the PESTLE analysis. When we say PESTLE, it means PESTLE, wherein it stands for political, economic, sociological, technological, legal, and environmental. So when we talk about PESTLE analysis, primarily we are talking about anything which is related to some business strategy at a very macro level, because maybe there is a possibility that we are looking into certain things at a micro level or at a macro level. So we need to use PESTLE analysis only when we are looking things at a macro level. Now, talking about all the 6 different aspects with respect to the PESTLE analysis, when we talk about P, that is political, the main intent is primarily to understand that what exactly is the political situation of that particular country and how it can impact the industry. Say for example, if you are seeing it from the perspective of an industry, maybe say for example it could be related to any new tax or any duty that may be there and what kind of impact it can have. For example, in July 2017 in India, GST was implemented for the first time, and it changed the entire scenario with respect to the tax structure and the parallel economy totally. So that is one example with respect to the political factor. Now the second is economic. Now there are different economic factors which are prevalent in the country. Say for example, in certain countries inflation may be very high or it may be very low, and it can have different impact depending upon the situation, the way in which things are working. Again, giving an example of India, in 2016 on 8th of November, Government of India decided to have demonetization, and that had a huge impact on the entire thing in India at that time. Then brings point number 3, social. That how much importance industry is giving primarily with respect to the style, fashion, culture, standard of living, demographic, and all those factors, and how it is impacting the buying trends. So for example, in USA, the buying trend increases during the Thanksgiving Day and during Christmas. And if we talk with respect to India, during Diwali season, there's huge impact with respect to the industry, where a lot of new investment happens during that time. And similarly, when we talk with respect to demographic, India at the moment has got 65% young population, which makes it very interesting destination for the investment for all the corporate worlds. That brings next point, that is about technology. So when we talk about technology here, the intent is that there are so many new things which are emerging like robotics, artificial intelligence, and these things are increasing very fast. So how it is going to impact the organization's product and services? For example, if you think that for a couple of years back, we were never thinking that there will be some electric vehicle that will be there in the market. But now very quickly, the market is changing from petrol and diesel to electric vehicle. And think about Nokia. When we used to have a button mobile, at that time Nokia was the best mobile. But when it shifted to Android and the touch screen, Nokia disappeared only because of technology. And something similar is we are using artificial intelligence. You remember we talk about Alexa a lot. And then the most surprising thing, now a human being made a computer. Now when you work on the computer, then the computer asks, are you a robot or human being? So just see how the technology has changing the things. Then the next point is legal. Now different countries have got different legal requirement, different legislations. Now the important thing is that how these legislations are changing, and if they are changing, what kind of impact it may be bringing maybe to the laws, consumer laws, safety standards, and other things. So for example, in 2019 in GDPR was introduced in European Union. Now it made a huge impact with respect to the data protection. And similarly, there can be different kind of legal impact things can have whenever any things are changing. And lastly, let me talk about environment or environmental impact. So what are the environmental concerns maybe for the industry at that point of time whenever we are doing an analysis? It can be related to climate, weather, geographical location, maybe the global changes in climate and other things also. So for example, very recently Government of India announced vehicle scrap policy for the old vehicle, and the reason is that they are creating a lot of pollution. So that's why that new policy has come. And you know that last year in 2021 there was COP26 at Glasgow, wherein the entire discussion was around the green gas emission and how we can reduce that. So these are different factors that I talked to you about. Now let's take one real life example with respect to electric vehicle in India and what kind of its impact can have, that we'll analyze in the help of a PESTLE analysis. So if you see the structure, in that structure you will find that what I've done is that I've specified different categories wherein it is talking about possible factors, then business impact, time frame, type of impact, rate of impact, and finally the importance about it. So talking about EV sales in India, what can be the impact with respect to the political thing? So the possible factors can be primarily with respect to the government policy towards EV, which is very positive, and government is very eager to implement EV as much as possible. Now second is business impact. Certainly it is going to speed up the EV market penetration in India, which is primarily at the moment is petrol and diesel, and partially with respect to CNG. Talking about the time frame, I think it looks like immediately the government focus is there at this moment, and the kind of impact it will have, looking at the present data, it will be positive, and it is increasing at this moment with respect to the impact, and it's very important and critical at this point of time. Now talking about the second part of PESTLE, economic. Well, the possible factor which is there at the moment with respect to India is that the cost of electric vehicle is very high in comparison to petrol and diesel. So that's a big concern. Now what kind of business impact it can have? The business impact can be with respect to that the high cost may defer the user to use EV as their first vehicle. Maybe those who have got first car, they may use it EV as a second car, maybe on weekends they can go around it, or if they have surplus money. So that may result as a hindrance with respect to that. Talking about the third, that is social. Well, the possible factors at this moment with respect to the society is the fear. Whenever something new is coming, it always creates a lot of fear, and presently this is with respect to the safety concern. Like in India, we're hearing many cases with respect to the fire on the electric vehicle. So what kind of safety features are there? What can be the business impact for that? Certainly it is going to slow down the sale because people will not feel comfortable going with that. Something similar happened when many years back the bank started. People were not very comfortable putting their money in bank, and now recently when everything is digitalized, so again people are having fear that their money will not be safe. Something similar is happening with respect to the electric vehicle also. Talking about next, that is technological. Now the big challenge with respect to technology is with respect to the battery life, the charging facility, the swapping facility, whether we have got that infrastructure and what are the challenges with respect to that. The business impact will be that as the infrastructure will improve, the sales will also improve, and as long as the infrastructure will not improve, the sales will remain down. The next is with respect to the legal thing. So how things can happen. So there are so many tax soaps which are being offered on the electric vehicle. There are different states which are offering so many incentives that if you are purchasing electric vehicle, you will get that much of discount and reduction in taxes and all that. So that is a thing. And what can the business impact? Certainly it is going to reduce the cost of the vehicle and people will prefer it more. Talking about the last, that is the environment. Well, certainly one of the possible factor of the challenge at this moment in India and globally, it is with respect to the disposal of the lithium ion battery. And what can be the business impact? Well, it may force the government to think about any alternate source rather than going only for electric vehicle, and it could be CNG or hydrogen, or it can be anything else. Well, now talking about some of the advantages and disadvantages with respect to the PESTLE analysis. To talk about the advantages, certainly it helps to evaluate the risk. We can determine the long-term impact of that. The strategical team can review any new strategy and what can be the possible solutions to the problem that can be done. Well, it can lead to some development to some external and strategic thinking. And certainly the organizations can spot the business opportunity and then they can exploit it further. And it can be wonderful for advantage with respect to the competitor. Talking about some of the disadvantages which PESTLE analysis can have. So first and the foremost is that you create a lot of data and then you analyze it. So sometimes we call it paralysis by analysis. That is a big challenge at this time with respect to the PESTLE analysis. Then second thing is that many of the data is based on assumptions which maybe later on may be found that it is not correct or not valid. So that can be another challenge with respect to the PESTLE analysis. Moreover, the things are changing so fast in industry at this particular time that no one is sure that whatever analysis that we are doing at this point of time, whether it will be relevant, say 5 years or 10 years down the line. Well, so if I do a summary, I talked about what exactly is PESTLE. Then I talked in detail about different aspects with respect to the PESTLE. Then we talked about one example with respect to the EV sale in India with respect to PESTLE analysis. And in the last, I talked about the advantages and disadvantages. Well, since PESTLE is primarily about macro level and more about the external environment, in my next video, I'm going to talk about the SWOT analysis, which is primarily more about internally to the organization: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Regularly, I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side and they're helping me to understand your expectations. So please do continue that. And in case you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you'll find a link below, and if you click that, you'll find a blog there. And there you will find this information in much more detail. And in case you're liking these kind of videos and blogs, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.